Hi there and welcome back to Japan, and indeed welcome to Valhalla, as you would be told by the purveyors of extremely dramatic and theatrical hard rock who are Unlucky Morpheus. Yes, we're going to be breaking down their new song, Welcome to Valhalla, today, and boy do we have a lot to unpack. So let's get started. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll probably know that I actually quite enjoy Unlucky Morpheus' music. Especially, I'm a big fan of Fuki's singing voice. I just think they're a group with a lot of potential, but I wouldn't say that I'm like a super fan who follows every single thing they do. I definitely check out every time they got a single or something like that, so I have a good knowledge of their sound and their work, which, as I say, is very theatrical and always leans into that sort of excess in a way that is quite fun. You know, it's very deliberately over the top. However, when we come to Welcome to Valhalla, we're looking at a song that deviates, at least from the songs that I've heard previously, in being very much based around a core. And now a core, when we talk about a song based around a core, often that's something that, don't press on like yeah, but we would associate with things like EDM or pop or R&B. It's where, or hip hop a lot of the time, something where the center of the song is mostly just one repeated phrase of music and everything kind of is built on top of that in layers. Well, Welcome to Valhalla, Welcome to Valhalla is certainly doing a similar, if not identical, trick in that most of it is based around one, let's just call it what it is, sick riff. Yes, it comes in first of all on the bass, and I must admit I really like that dirty bass sound at the beginning where you've got the distorted vocals and it really kind of sounds intense. There's not much there, just the vocals and the bass are really making up the beginning of the song until everything bursts in, but it's enough to really set the mood. And also give you an idea that this is a song that, unlike most Unlucky Morpheus songs, is not going all out. Yes, they are using all the instruments they have on hand and all that brilliant musicianship to a different sort of degree. However, this is not about excessively blasting with a sort of orchestral sound. This is more about really getting that head bob going and really getting you in the mood that the riff is trying to set. And that's what I really like about this. I have often complained about songs that are a little bit too minimalistic. However, you can do minimalism well, and from the get-go you can tell that's the direction that this song is going in, and it plays it off nicely with a chorus that is, to be honest, just the same riff again, but blasting much louder. Everything comes in. You have a sort of a sing-along chorus, which again is simple, but just on that side of simplicity that is not sort of irritatingly simplistic. It's just kind of simple enough to make it an earworm, and that's clearly what they're going for. They are going for an earwormy chorus here, and certainly since it came out a day ago, it is the song that has been stuck in my head most over those last 24 hours, and that I'm going to need like a good sort of pickaxe to remove it from my brain at this point. The song does have little deviations, like things in the pre-chorus that take it in a slightly different direction, but we're basically looking at a fairly simple core-based earworm song. So the question is, how do they make that interesting? As I said, core-based songs, they need layers and things to make them interesting. I know, we know Unlucky Morpheus have a lot of great sounds to use, not just Fuki's voice. They have violin, they have some great guitarist, drumming work. But how do they do it? Well, I'm glad to say they actually really achieve that layering very well in this song, in that a lot of it comes from using subtle sounds, which is what you really want. Things that aren't going to interfere with the impact of that riff, of that sort of head bobby nature, and of the simple but very easy to follow sort of narrative that the vocal melody gives you as well. See, the little touches we get things like little flourishes of sitar, which I wasn't expecting, but I thought that's nice. It adds to the sort of mystical sound of the song. It doesn't really go in with the Nordic theme of Valhalla, but it works on a musical level, and that's all we really care about here. So we have that, and we also have the guitars, which, you know, apart from that riff, are laying down sort of nice, very subtle things. You get little sort of chugging bits, you get the little note here and there, just picking just the occasional harmony out, just little things that are adding layers that are subtle. It is the subtleties that make this work. A riff on its own going round will certainly get your head bopping, but at least I'm a great believer that just a riff going round and round and round, that can get boring. Even the best riff will get boring eventually. You need those details, those subtleties, and yeah, they're certainly on offer here. As I say, Fuki's vocal melody here, it does have a sort of a quality of progressing. It feels like there's a narrative to it. It builds up to the chorus. So there is enough here to keep this song on the interesting side, to stop it just being one of those, you know, sort of play riff, head bob, everyone's like, this is a cool riff. No, it's not like that. It is a song with subtleties in it. The thing is, though, is that we would have to ask in the end, is this something that's going to pay off long term? Is it going to be a song that people go back to and re-listen to a lot? Well, at this point, I'm not really sure. Certainly, as I say, at this moment, it is stuck in my head. And I think it has been an entertaining re-listen the many times I've re-listened to it because of the subtleties that keep it sounding fresh each time. However, I do think that it might be, in the long term, not one that people come back to as regularly as some of the other Unlucky Morpheus songs that have more to get your teeth into but are ultimately probably a little bit less accessible. And that leads us on to the main point, which is really, who is this song for? Well, honestly, I think this is a song that actually could even achieve radio play in, like, even more of a mainstream context. It is just very catchy and very accessible. So I think this is a good way of getting a band like Unlucky Morpheus, who I've always said I don't think are so accessible to people who are not already into this kind of music. They've got a very specific image which people are really into, but is, you know, that kind of thing can be a barrier to people who are just more generic music fans, you know, generic rock fans. They've got a very over-the-top theatrical sound, which again could be a barrier to more generic rock fans. But this is the sort of song that could bring people in just by its immediate likability, its immediate catchiness, its immediate just sort of sheer rock effectiveness. It could bring people in, and so I think it is a nice way of expanding their audience. That said, I don't think it's something which is going to, I haven't really read the comments much, but I don't think it's going to disappoint long-term fans either. Yes, it might not be what the usual Unlucky Morpheus fan comes to Unlucky Morpheus for. However, it doesn't betray what the band is either. I mean, as the title gives away and the aforementioned use of sitar, it is a song that is big on theatrics, just kind of in the framework of a song that is not quite so blisteringly wall of sound, everything hitting you at the same time. You're getting swept away by the torrent kind of, oh no, here comes a waterfall effect that we would usually expect from Unlucky Morpheus. That was kind of a really complex mixed metaphor that didn't really go anywhere, but you get my point. This is something where I think there's enough for people who are fans of their usual music to still get something from, even though, as I mentioned before, they might not come back to this as much as songs that are more typifying of what we kind of used to from Unlucky Morpheus. So therefore, I think this is great, really, for adding something different to their sound and also being something accessible to bring in other hard rock fans who maybe haven't listened to them or haven't listened to them for a while, or maybe just didn't really like what they heard after getting not very good short taste of them maybe on first listen. You know, if someone says, hey, listen to my favourite Unlucky Morpheus song, it's probably going to be like a die-hard fan who's going to play them the most over-the-top Unlucky Morpheus song and like put off poor old normie rocker who's just used to listening to riffs. And so, you know, this is in that nice area. If you're an Unlucky Morpheus fan, you're having trouble converting your friends, this is the one. Play it to them. Ease them in. Final little bit of extra credit to the music video as well, because I kind of felt that, unlike a lot with the Black Death Murder Mansion really long name song that came out recently, they seem to be playing towards doing these videos with the green screen effect and going for something very visually impressive. And I know my occasional co-presenter Bubs, he really liked that music video. He liked the whole style of it. I kind of agree, but this one I liked even more. I felt that just it was so colourful. It was really nice the way they did that. It was kind of like a real sensory wow. Even though, you know, it's all green screened, it just kind of looked cool, and I like the whole way it was done. So it's always nice when you've got a music video that kind of can play along with the drama and also play along with the sort of tongue-in-cheek style of what Unlucky Morpheus do. And I've said this before, I like that Unlucky Morpheus, one of those bands who they go for this sort of dark, brooding, dramatic image, but in a kind of a Tim Burton-y way. You know, it's not emo, it's not like depressing, it's kind of got a little bit of a sense of fun. You know, you're along with us for the ride of this kind of crazy, dark, dramatic feel. And so, yeah, I felt that the music video played with that nicely, and the little dash of colour added a bit of fun to it as well without piercing the bubble of that image. So yeah, this was a cool video, which I must point out as well, and extra credit as well for the production. It's just presented really well. So those are my thoughts. As always, get into the comments, tell me what you think, and hopefully I'll see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. But until then, for now, ciao ciao.